Okay, the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, is now recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner, you believe in the First Amendment, don't you?
I do.
I mean, all parts of it, all rights we have. Your right to practice your faith, your right to petition the government, right to assemble, freedom of press, freedom of speech. You believe in all that.
Yes, Congressman.
Why do you ban Dave Portnoy from NFL games?
Pardon me, I couldn't hear your question.
Why do you ban Dave Portnoy from NFL games? He's a journalist. In fact, he's a sports journalist. Why is he banned?
Congressman, I'm not familiar with that issue. I'm happy to
Really?
check with my staff, but I'm not aware of that. Yes.
Well, I think we're all aware of that. We're all aware of that. I mean, he interviewed the President of the United States, interviewed President Trump in the White House. It seems to me if you can get into the White House, you should be able to get into a football game, particularly as a member of the press and a member of the sports press. You don't know anything about that?
I don't, sir.
Do you agree with the Washington Redskins' decision to fine Jack Del Rio $100,000?
That was the decision that was made by Coach Rivera. Again, as I stated earlier, they are responsible for monitoring and managing their own workplace. He made that decision on his own. I did not speak to him. I have great respect for Coach Rivera. He made this decision for reasons I'm sure that he thought were important.
I appreciate all that, Commissioner, but that's not what I asked you. I said, do you agree with the Washington Redskins' decision to fine Jack Del Rio $100,000?
I don't think it's my position to be able to say whether it was the correct decision or not.
Well, Coach Rivera, in his statement when he fined his assistant coach $100,000, he said, Del Rio, quote, does have the right to voice his opinion as a citizen of the United States, and it is most certainly his constitutional right to do so. I don't know if that's actually accurate anymore, because if you do voice that, you end up getting fined and have to write a check for $100,000. Does that concern you?
I, again, have great respect for Coach Rivera. I presume that he had reasons for doing what he did, and I'm sure he took a lot of factors into consideration there.
Last year at the start of the season, I'm looking at the New York Times article, a piece from September 5th, 2021. Last year, start of the NFL season, you made this statement. You said, we, the National Football League, encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. Did you really mean that when you said that, Mr. Goodell?
Yes, I think people are always responsible for what they say and what they do, but yes.
And when you said you encourage all to speak out, you meant all, not just some.
That's correct, Congressman, but you're responsible for what you say. There are consequences for what you do and say in life.
Yeah. So it seems to me, I mean, this is the concern I have. It seems to me the NFL encourages all to speak out unless you're Dave Portnoy and not allowed to a game, unless you're Jack Del Rio, you get fined. That is, I think, the concern not only I have, but a lot of your fans across this country have this standard. Does that concern you at all?
It always concerns me what our fans think and how they react, but we try to make sure that we're responsible in all our comments.
Yeah, let me just read the tweet from Mr. Del Rio. It said, would love to understand the whole story about why the summer of riots, looting, burning, and the destruction of personal property is never discussed, but January 6th is. What part of that statement, what part of that tweet warranted a $100,000 fine?
Again, Congressman, I didn't issue the fine. I wasn't part of the decision-making process. Coach Rivera obviously had reasons which he believed were substantial to do that. And I have great respect for him.
Yeah, but I mean, this whole hearing is about the NFL stepping in when something happened at the Washington football team's organization, and now we had something that happened in the Washington football team's organization, and you say you had no part of that. You're not gonna comment on it. It's not something that should concern you, but it seems like it should when assistant coach issues a tweet that I think a lot of people would say, you know what, we Republicans condemned the violence that took place in the summer of 2020, and we condemned the violence that took place on January 6th. We've been consistent. I think that was the point the coach was making. He gets fined, and you have nothing to say about it.
I am not going to interfere with the workplace decisions that a club makes on a matter like that. That is not something that rises to the occasion, such as the subject that we're talking about today, when you have a workplace that is obviously toxic and unacceptable and unprofessional.
And no
That
one's,
is a
no
much
one's,
different
no
issue
one
for me,
support,
and
no one
it's a-
supports that, but we do support the First Amendment, and I understand this is a private organization, but the chilling impact when speech is curtailed like this and you get fined for a tweet that you put out, I think that is a concern to all of us. That's why I raised it in the committee hearing today. Madam Chair, I yield back.
The gentleman